Welcome to the Ecommerce Alley podcast, where we believe that great brands are built on passionate leadership, smart operations, and of course, powerful marketing. I'm your host, Josh Coffey, and today I have a guest. This is actually the first time I've had a guest on 2 times, or the second time around after I did his first bit. And today we have with us Neil Twa, who is just a wealth of knowledge, not only on the subject of Amazon, but in so many other areas. And so I'm excited to have Neil back on for a second time since we have started this podcast. So Neil, man, thanks for joining me here. I appreciate you.
Yeah, Josh, thanks for having me on, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so just so you know, so we're like 40, I don't know, Dylan, we're like 40 something episodes into this podcast. We started it last December, beginning of December. So we're coming up on like a year, and we missed a couple weeks in the process. And your episode, Neil, so you were in like the top 3 episodes of all time. And we're friends on Facebook, so I keep seeing you every day. I see Neil's posts on Facebook. And so I'm like, I need to get Neil back on because your podcast is one of those most downloaded podcasts. So if anyone's listening and wondering like, what was that podcast? On May 2nd was when we did that, and it was episode number 22. And it's titled How Neil Twa Found $100 Million in Amazon FBA Sales. So if you want to actually listen to part 1 back when we were like barely getting the podcast rolling, and Neil was one of those gracious first guests to give me his time, definitely go listen to that. But Neil is the co-founder and the CEO of Voltage Digital Marketing, which he's just an Amazon FBA expert. From everything I've seen, all the proof and the stuff that results he generates for people. He's had thousands of students go through his programs. And one fun fact, and I saw this in the bio from last time we spoke, Neil, or I found this somewhere, but it said that you help people build their Amazon FBA businesses through automated strategies by partnering with one of the world's richest billionaires. What? That's awesome.
Well, yeah, it's Amazon. It's Jeff Bezos, right? At the end of the day,
I love it. Right? No, that's great, man. I saw that. I'm like, is he hanging out with like Warren Buffett or something like that? Who's this guy?
Well, no, I do know some billionaires, but not Warren Buffett. That's just clever because you kind of do partner with Amazon, but then you don't. It's one of those things. It's like you have this love-hate relationship. And we were talking about Facebook a minute ago.
Yeah.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I'm changing our marketing messaging, Dylan. Let's put that in my bio too.
You heard it here first,
I heard it here. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. But all that to say, though, Neil, you've done so much on Amazon, and what I love about you is you're very humorous in a lot of stuff. The way you teach and the videos I've seen with you, and I love your style. But you have like so much experience on Amazon, and it's something that I am pretty like ignorant to. I mean, the only podcast I've done so far on Amazon has really been with you, and that was a little over 6 months ago. So I'm excited to dive down into this, but just so we could bring everyone up to speed who hasn't listened to that very first episode, could you bring everyone up to speed with like who you are and like what you do in your words? Because I know I probably butchered that as we just saw a minute ago.
You did great. You're doing great. Let's keep it simple and down to the point, right? It gets down to the fundamentals of e-commerce and fundamentals of business, which we like to focus on. I just happen to have focused on Amazon FBA as the first go-to-market channel for a private label brand. Some of you listening to this may be on the direct to channel world, direct to consumer world. You might be on the Shopify side. You might be doing, paid social media, influencer marketing, etc. But I've predominantly spent the last decade in Amazon FBA, and I've kind of focused, the old saying, jack of all trades, master of none. I have tried to go the opposite direction of that, like so many things I do in my business and my personal life, and gone the opposite direction of where the herd is going, and stayed focused on one area and just did my best to master it and to bring people in around me who can create mastery. And I'm blessed to be a part of an amazing team of people who are geniuses, super smart, and doing some amazing things for Voltage and for our clients. And I just get to be kind of set back and be the guy who talks about it while they do some of the hard work. So I want to give them a shout out, because without them, the results and stuff of the team wouldn't be there. I think it's important for people who might want to question the authenticity of what we do or how we do it. You should know, first and foremost, I am a seller. I have accounts, we have businesses, we run DTC channels as well as Amazon FBA channels. We grow and scale our own brands, and we show our clients every week anything we're doing, account rep updates, or anything that is live and in real time they need to know. in their business. And just as well, they share stuff with us because I build CEO operators. I don't build people who are enabled to my system or even enabled to a specific channel. I build people who understand the role of a CEO and how to maintain a CEO-like structure within your business, and then use Amazon or other marketing channels to prove your product, prove your brand, and then be able to really scale it while creating a great customer experience and lifetime value that you just get beyond the additional channels, but in that emotional connectivity to the brand. We just happen to choose FBA to start with. And I know that sounds like to some people like the redheaded stepchild of the e-com world, but it's not. It really isn't. You deal with these things we talk about the partnership. Facebook's not really a partner with us. Amazon's not really a partner with us. We look at it in terms of how do we leverage these tools, right? Amazon to me is just like a hammer. I can use it. I can build a great foundation and a great framework. I can build a home, or I can smash my thumb with it. Or someone else can take the hammer and beat me over the head with it. So at the end of the day, a hammer is a tool. How you choose to use it and where you choose to swing it is probably more important than which hammer you use.
Yeah, I think that's good. And I think that like one thing that I see really commonly, I mean, I'm on, you do a lot of training, and it sounds like you do a lot of coaching, consulting as well. And I don't know if you ever have any of the clients you work with do this, but I was on a call this morning with one, and I feel like this happens all the time, but you talk to someone and they're like, I don't have any time and I'm overwhelmed and I'm doing this. And like, I'm trying to this isn't working for me. And I'm like, okay, go ahead and break down the different like marketing channels that you're trying to like tackle here and like what you're doing. And they're like, well, I'm posting 2 times a day on my Instagram. I'm making a TikTok 3 times a week. I'm doing Facebook ads. I'm trying Google ads. And then I'm considering, and they just go off on this rant of like a million things they're doing. And I think you're right. It's like they have a tool belt, but they really only know how to, they're trying to learn how to use like 32 different hammers or different tools, and they're not just going all in to really mastering that. And it sounds like you've gone in on Amazon. And so that's just everything then? Like for you, when you build Amazon brands, is it only on Amazon, or do you ever take them off of Amazon?
100% take them off. You should never be Amazon channel locked anywhere any more than you should be DTC channel locked on just a Shopify. In essence, I look at it because I'm a Gen Xer. So we knew that as the businesses grew and the internet came online and it got past the yellow pages to brochure sites, you were considered a legitimate business. Now, if you moved past the yellow book and into a legitimate website, well, in e-com, we look at it like this. If you don't have an Amazon and a DTC channel at some point, you're not necessarily considered a legitimate business, because if they can't find you on Amazon, they'll look and determine whether or not they should purchase it from Amazon where they trust it. And literally, we're seeing about 18% on average of traffic in the DTC side ends up purchasing a competitor's product on Amazon. We refer to that as found money. If you don't have a multi-channel strategy, you could be losing tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in sales you're trying to acquire over here that are simply buying it on Amazon. So you have to look at that multi-channel. So it's not if I should do it, it is when I should do it. So I may have a bit of city air to me because I grew up in a cul-de-sac and spent most of my life in big cities. But now that I've lived in the country, I'm learning some very interesting fundamental facts. And one of them is you can't ride 2 horses with one ass. So at the end of the day, I've chosen to focus on one horse.
I love that.
And I take people through one horse at success, get all the other nonsense out of their mind and all these other ideas and activities, masters productivities, to go out and just focus on the RGAs, revenue generating activities. How do I get to revenue and profit and repeat when it's working? Oh, but Neil, I spent, advertising on Amazon and it was, 200% average cost of sales and I'm not making any money, but I made sales. Oh, okay. So let's fix that, because they'll want to turn it off and they'll want to try another marketing activity and they want to say it's not working, when in actuality, we will typically spend 30 to 200% average cost of sale to acquire a customer in 1 month. But our total advertising cost of sale will average anywhere between 7 to 15%, because Amazon's the one place I can buy a customer and organically rank my listing for sales as search traffic for free traffic. When you do that correctly, even purchasing up to 200% of the market share to continue to gain algorithmic ranking and marketplace approach to sales and growth inside of that system, you can get 80 to 90% of your sales directly from the organic search engine. So I just did a case study of this yesterday. It'll be released here shortly with David LeBlanc. It'll be on my podcast. You'll want to check it out, because he literally came, and in 4 months, we took him to 7 figures after running a 6-month business at $500K with 0 profits. We got him to 7 figures and 20% profit in 5 months by simply re-changing the way he was focusing his activities, and got him down to just those that were going to make him money on Amazon. And all of a sudden, the game's changed. Now he's looking at scaling vertically and horizontally inside of Amazon before he even takes on any outside marketing activities.
That, from our last podcast, that's the one, like the largest thing that I think stuck with me that is so interesting, because with Facebook, it's just like a faucet, right? You just turn that sucker on and it pours the traffic, whatever. And then the moment you stop paying Facebook, you might have a trickle, only because some people will sometimes save your ad, your post or something like that, or bookmark your page, but it's like microscopic. So it basically flatlines when you stop doing it. But that's just so intriguing to me that like you can use paid traffic to get the front end immediate benefit and revenue and sales. And then when you stop it, it helps your organic too. And there's like nothing else, like Google doesn't even do that. It's like you pay
Not
us.
Even Google, you can't rank that way. But the reciprocal benefit is that when I do that and I go over a 90-day launch plan to go into the market, dominate the market, and buy up that competition so that the algorithm rewards me with that organic traffic ahead of the other data that it currently has by the competitor currently in the marketplace. So because it's a public-facing company, if you will, and it has a public-facing marketplace, I'm going to see visually the reciprocation of those marketing efforts when I can't see them inside of Facebook. I only see them on my website. So I have an advantage to those marketers because I actually see the reciprocal benefits that visually inside of Amazon's marketplace. So it gives me a different data point in which to adjust my marketing and advertising activities in that system that Facebook direct ads cannot do. You're doing it on the back end of SMS, email, and other marketing, social media marketing on the backside of your e-com. I'm doing it on the front side. So where do we win in business? We win on the first customer acquisition that doesn't go to our competitor. And then we went on the second and third customer lifetime value of that person who buys additional from us. And people will say, well, you can't get that with Amazon. And I will say, you're listening to the wrong people. And people will say, you can't get the customer data from Amazon. And I'm like, you're right, but you can get it from the customer and within the terms of service. So there are a lot of misnomers about that marketplace because other marketers have sold courses and other crap against that system, which is fine by me because it just makes more money for me and my clients, to get you to believe that there are too many problems dealing with Amazon and FBA. And it's much easier to go learn paid market traffic, CRO, and optimizations on a DTC channel and direct to consumer, and CRO being customer relationship. So I'm using some acronyms, so forgive me if I go too fast. But the end result is those are just two different horses. Choose one to ride, but recognize that when the time comes, you must multi-channel. Do not get locked on just DTC without Amazon, and don't just get on Amazon without focusing on other marketplaces, Walmart, Wayfair, eBay, something else, whatever makes sense for your product and brand, and opening an actual store where you acquire customers in that secondary channel. It may only end up being 10% of your overall revenues, but it can add 1 to 2 points on the bottom line of the business, as well as the valuation of the business should you want to sell it in the future. So we're all asset driven here.
Wow.
And it's very important to understand that, I believe.
I think that for me is almost like that's almost like a belief that I have too, just from like what I've seen is like, you don't own the data. Like with Amazon, that's one of the things, right? You don't own the customer, but through the delivery of the product and through the terms and services correctly, you can gather that data. And also, I was just in a meeting, and I do want to dive into holiday stuff because I think I'd love to see your holiday strategy. But I was just in a meeting with a client. They do an annual market meeting in Colorado with everyone. I was there for 2 days, and their Amazon people were talking. Everyone kind of had to present and stuff. And the Amazon people the Amazon team was there talking, and they were saying that Amazon's rolling out a beta right now, or going to be, of some kind of like, not an email because you're not going to gather their information, but you're going to be able to send or communicate with your customers. But Amazon is still not giving you their, it's kind of like they're building their own email marketing tool, but it's like very templated. You can't change a whole lot and you don't get to see their information. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, we're actually in the beta for that program. Okay. And I can tell you that you can do email broadcasting to the customers that have purchased your products and get them to buy additional products from you. So that is through Amazon system. There's huge inbox delivery. It has its pros and its cons, which is just fine. But here's the point. Why are they allowing that? And I need you to understand the differences in the type of sellers you may be experiencing, or the process of thinking you might have getting to this podcast, to understand how to even unlock that. You have to be a private label seller, brand registered on Amazon. If you don't have that, if you're trying to drop ship, wholesale, flip, arbitrage, FBA wholesale, or any of those other mechanisms, you're not going to get this brand experience that Amazon's going after. You can literally go back through my YouTube for 5+ years and listen to me talk about the brand experience, the social media construct that Amazon's looking at in terms of off traffic to referral traffic, which we'll talk a little bit about on the holiday side, But the aspect of it looking out into the marketplace and saying, we want to be brand driven. We don't want to be eBay. We certainly don't want to be in the competitiveness of Walmart, although in market share, they're way above Walmart. In fact, I think Walmart and Target combined, or one of the two, I forget, are not even close to Amazon's market share.
I believe it.
So you want to play with the big dogs. Don't waste your time in the smaller marketplaces. So at the end of that, you got to look at what Amazon is doing for brands is it's really pushing us forward. It's giving us tools, resources, beta. It's even helping us open additional markets. It's making it easier to move products for warehouse and inventory. It is helping the brand-driven aspect buyers, and it is literally targeting anyone who's violating the terms of service now. There used to be a gray area. These whole Amazon automation, Walmart drop shipping schemes, we're really taking huge advantage of this right now, but they're getting shut down extremely fast. And I keep getting these horror stories every couple weeks. I hear somebody lost 50 grand here and 35 grand there and 108 grand there. Wow. They gave somebody money and it was 50% of profits and it was supposed to be passive, this whole nonsense. And they get completely destroyed by it because it's a lie. It's a scam and it's against Amazon's terms of service. We are private label, business registered, brand registered, and trademark before we launch a single product. We show Amazon all the signals that we're a serious business here to play. And in the first 90 days of launching our products, we also show them through the algorithmic aspects of our marketing in Amazon that we're a serious brand there to play. Because we're not running emotion, we're running data. And it is an algorithm. And I know you and I have a mutual friend who talks about algorithms on Facebook and how powerful that can be, but people miss the point that there is an algorithm running Amazon too. And it's extremely powerful, and it can reward you when you give it all the right data.
Yeah. Are you the one that told me about like Amazon is the algorithm is kind of like a river and you got to get like the right, Were you the one that share that analogy? I remember that from like 6-7 months ago. Can you share that analogy? I thought that was really good.
Well, the simple phrase is Amazon is like a river, but it's also a tree. Okay. Unlike Amazon, it's a tree or a database of all kinds of products. You look at the branches and you look at the trunk as departments, and the categories are the branches, and subcategories are the smaller branches, and hanging out on the very end of the leaves, which we know is nodes inside this filing system, or a niche if you look at it from a marketing angle. So Amazon is just a giant tree, but it's also a river. So it's flowing. It's data flowing from customer through algo to in 2 days or 1 hour, depending upon where you live. And that customer demand, that algo is basically looking at it and is saying it's about 4,000 units a minute right now, which will almost double come holiday time. It is disseminating product data based on customer demand to the seller accounts that are going to deliver that product the best. I know Amazon delivers last mile to the door, but ultimately it's the customer experience of the product that they're shooting for. And they want to make sure that when that seller sells that product, based on the demand of that customer, that it closes a very good loop through seller feedback and product feedback and a good experience for the customer who doesn't try to return the product. Okay. So there are a lot of algorithmic aspects behind that. But if you look at it from a river perspective, most people who are trying to sell on Amazon are literally sitting in the shore, trying to dip their toes in the water, wondering why the river won't move closer to them. And they try to coax the river with marketing and coupons and discounts and all this other crap. And instead, some people figure out you should be standing in the water. Okay. At least standing in the water means you're getting you're getting wet. You're actually seeing some sales. You're seeing some success. I had a guy show up yesterday who's standing in the river. He's doing about 10 to 20,000 a month for the last 2 years. And I'm like, dude, why are you not doing 100 or 200,000 a month in your niche and your product? You should be doing that. Lack of focus, marketing activities had taken him off in these other tangents instead of focusing on what
he took one of our courses and then he should learn Facebook
just take
ads.
2 more feet out, what I call a 2 millimeter shift, and get into the current that is literally like 2 feet in front of him.
Yeah.
He's missing the current 2 feet in front of him. Where is the fastest amount of movement in a river? It's the current. And so many people don't know. They got to move into the current. The current doesn't come to them. The current doesn't care about them. What it cares about is the data metrics, seller product, and a bunch of other metrics that Amazon doesn't even tell you about that it's looking to influence the customer relationship with. So we have to look at this very differently. We have to look at Amazon as an algo that we're selling to prove the best data points. And I know you guys know this on the Facebook side, right? To prove the best data points to tap into that buyer traffic that we're going after. Unlike an audience conversational topic on the marketing direct-to-consumer social media world, I'm having a you wanted to buy this product, now buy mine conversation. I'm having an add to cart conversation. I skipped the audience conversation and the outside social media, and I went straight to this is why you should buy it. This is why you're going to love it. And here's why you're going to love more of it. So I'm having a very different audience conversation, a psychology of the buyer, if you will, with an Amazon buyer than someone trying to buy through a regular website and a DTC channel.
We see the same thing, and I'm gonna have to steal your analogy, Neil. I'll just change it and then take credit. So it is funny. So we see the same thing, like in our ads. Like we've done so many ads, and I'll have to send you some of the ones that we've done recently. Like you're like high production, like arbitrage, like Star Wars, and there's like CGI in it and lightsaber duels, and the Jedi is battling Facebook. Like we've done some insane stuff. I'm gonna send you some funny things we've done. And the moment we move from like still, single image Facebook ads, that they'll get some engagement, they'll get clicks, we'll get sales and we'll get traction. But the moment we move to like higher production things and we start to like you just feel the algorithm love, as you and Matt Harwood would put it. Like there's this flow that like the comments, the engagements, the cost per clicks cut in half. It's like you just sink right into that current, and it's hard to explain. It's almost like hard to explain until like you've done it, and then you're like, then you have a feel, and then you're like, okay, I launch this ad, and if in like 3-4 days, if it's going to plug into the current, at least on the Facebook ad side of things, I can tell, okay, this ad's gaining traction or it's not, because I've just gotten the reps in and know what it feels like and know what it looks like from doing it a lot. But I love that analogy. Now, I'm just curious, like on the holiday side. So on the holiday side of things, how does it, I mean, obviously we know Amazon, like purchasing on Amazon skyrockets on Prime Day, but then obviously during the holidays, what does that look like for just give us some numbers, maybe percentage or something for like customers, clients you work with, and what you've seen yourself?
So Amazon itself does around on average of 630 million a day throughout the year leading to the holidays. What we normally anticipate is 3 to 5x growth in the fourth quarter when the holiday season kicks in on Amazon. That's what we see. So we have to pre-inventory buy and project every year the amount of inventory required and have it in before October, have it prepped for 3PL or have it in Amazon's warehouse or distribution system and for FBA, and have it ready to be delivered, and have mostly a just-in-time flow behind Amazon to keep it stocked so we don't stock out and can take full benefit of that. Now, most sellers, when doing this correctly, can make profit over the entire year. They don't need the fourth quarter to go into the black. I know a lot of other sellers in retail, that's always where a lot of sellers move into the black for a fourth quarter. You look at it as a bonus to the growth that we've seen over the year, and a way for us, if we do smart movements and smart inventory, smart marketing, we can outposition some of our competitors during that time frame, which launches us better into the next year and gives us a higher organic growth as a year-to-date total. So we'll see anywhere between 40 to 65% growth every year organically, and we want to maintain that growth year to year. And this is kind of a launching period for us to do that. So inventory preparation is a big one, mainly because you don't want to stock out on Amazon. You can stock out on your website and deal with it very differently, but Amazon's algo will penalize you for every 24 hours you're out of stock.
Oh, wow. And as crap, I didn't know that.
You will lose search engine ranking traffic when that occurs. And for literally every 24 hours you're out, you have about 3 days to put yourself back into that position. So you can see as the days go along, based on competition, high competition, and depending upon your BSR and which category and niche you're in, this can be very dramatic, okay? If you're doing 1,000 units a day in a highly competitive niche and you stock out, it is going to be very difficult for you to get back into position, especially during the holidays. So that's one of the biggest things we prep our clients for. Make sure you have enough inventory, do smart logistics and supply chain management through Amazon's warehouse or 3PL. Now, one of the negatives that Amazon does every year, and they were a little bit disappointing this year, is they have what's called an IPI rule set for inventory. And they went in and said, well, some users are going to see a 5% slash in inventory. Well, that was kind of like everybody I knew. So that's kind of hard to figure out. We were all in the 5%, but maybe we were. So Amazon slashed inventory sometimes by half. So if you had 10,000 units, you only have 5. You had 100,000, they only had 50,000. So that just means logistics and supply chain are one of the things we focus on, maybe a little bit more heavy than the direct-to-consumer channel. Of course, you need product, and if you're a physical product and brand, you're going to have that over here in your delivery system through 3PL or whatever means you're moving it, your own warehouse, etc. But because we're using distribution systems and we're not actually inventory warehousing and have no employees, we have a little bit of a different logistical balance to deal with. So for holidays, when we do promos and stuff, we don't discount. The only reason we offer a coupon at any time is for a pricing check. It means that we are determining whether or not we can raise our price or we should lower it a little bit to get into that Amazon slipstream. okay, to get into that current. It is a river flowing based on customer demand, and it can change because the river just doubled, the current just changed, right? And so we're going to readjust our PPC campaigns, et cetera, right now. And then we're going to leave them alone because coming up here towards the end of October, when we're currently shooting this, and into November, depending upon when this is released, there's a lot of tire kickers doing shopping. Okay. And as they're doing shopping, your campaigns are going to look kind of bad. They're going to look kind of bad through the next 3 weeks or 4 headed into the Black Friday, because in that marketplace, Amazon will get a lot of tire kickers who are building their wish list and getting ready to purchase. Don't make dramatic changes to your PPC campaigns on Amazon, or you could very negatively impact what's about to happen next. It should be an opportunity for you to position. As Warren Buffett says, when the water goes out, you're going to find out who's standing there naked. So at this point, a lot of amateur sellers in the marketplace are going to make really bad decisions, which creates a huge opportunity for us to know what to do, right? Because we're going to be positioning for spend, and they're going to be trying to stay within a certain 30% A cost of their sales, et cetera, or average cost of sales. And we don't really care about that because remember, I'm going to go in and buy up their seller traffic. I want the organic ranking. And the way I can get that is through manipulating the PPC engine, which obviously, when I say manipulate, I mean that in a positive terms of service compliance way, but in a marketing strategy that is very much against, it's the salmon running up the river, so that I can avoid the bears. But so many people fall into that this year. So definitely inventory is important. Definitely your PPC strategy needs to be very strong and smart about it. You need to be thinking about going another direction. How am I going to acquire those customers? And how am I going to acquire them? Because I'm going to see that organic lift when that sales and product goes up, and I can see myself slingshotting into 2023 first quarter with very different results than I went into the fourth quarter for, because my search engine and organic rankings have changed. Competitors fell out, market prices didn't fell out, retail prices got dialed in. So my clients, the third thing, we usually raise our prices. I know everybody's like, what the, you don't discount, we raise? No, we raise our prices. And when I talked about the guy a minute ago in the podcast, you should go watch, his products that were not profitable, we went back and helped him reshape his products. We taught him how to raise his product affinity. And now he's selling products for about 60% more than he used to. Same product, same market, completely different angle. Now he has the capability of buying up the traffic in Amazon. And all of a sudden, he's 20% profitable on triple net when he was making zero profits before. But all we did was reshift and refocus into the avatar that was adding his products to cart, but someone else's products, because they didn't see the same valuation as him. And as soon as that shifted, all of a sudden his sales went through the roof. So surprisingly, we actually raise our prices this time of year, and we don't discount and coupon unless, just to be clear, we're testing. We want to test where that river has moved or where our customer has moved that river a little bit inside of Amazon. And then we just readjust.
Wow. I love how systematic it is. It's just all data driven. And you said something earlier.
It is all data
There's
driven.
something you said earlier. You mentioned math and not emotion. And the funny thing is, our team knows this front and back. And I feel like I should have a tattoo, but I always say marketing is a mathematical equation, not an emotional decision. I think everyone gets emotional about it and they don't trust the data. So I love the fact that you have like a scientific way of like, okay, we're going to increase our prices. We're only going to lower it if we want to like find the new current in the market. During November, just so I understand. So leading up to Black Friday, you're not pushing as hard on your PPC campaigns. Is that right?
We're optimizing PPC campaigns, but we know that there's tire kickers.
Okay.
In the 3 weeks of November leading to Black Friday, you will probably experience something on the front end similar to what we experienced, but a lot of people are clicking and not necessarily buying as much. There might even be a little bit of a down curve. And the amateur seller market who does not understand this experience or haven't really seen it on volume, maybe they've seen it a little bit, so they don't see it. But once you see it on volume, it suddenly changes the perception of your strategy as well as the execution of the strategy. They're going to try to readjust their campaigns. And what they're going to end up doing is losing market share, backing up, lowering their prices, and not actually positioning themselves correctly before Black Friday, Cyber Monday kicks in. And from there, it's a ride.
Okay.
And so they'll position themselves incorrectly and actually lose their market share, and we'll actually come in and gain market share.
So then do you like ramp up ad spend once Black Friday hits and just push that through the end of the year?
We just let it dial in, right? So one of the things we have in place is an AI system that manages our PPC campaigns based on a click to sale strategy and specific ratios of certain keywords in the system and buying, acceptable buying for broad phrase and exact match keywords. And then we basically set that. And what we'll do is we'll manage the budget expectations of that, but the algorithm itself is actually running against our templates. And so we'll check it maybe once a week on the off season, maybe once a month to kind of optimize and ensure that it's doing what we want it to. But then we're going to get a little bit more tweaky, if you will. Isn't anybody a word tweaky?
We're throwing it in we're throwing it in Merriam-Webster.
Tweaky. Okay, but we're going to tweak it a little bit to adjust that click to sale ratio, but not much.
Okay.
We're going to leave it pretty much the same. It may look like it's losing a little bit more money during those weeks, but it's more important that the positioning is there and to maintain that right and not actually make significant adjustments to those campaigns ahead of Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
So how do you find the stability levels of Amazon or advertising on Amazon? Because like Facebook, and Facebook is just notorious for this. And we work with Facebook, we scale with it, we love it still. But one of the annoying parts that you can sometimes see is you could have 5 campaigns running, just running steady, workhorses just doing well, or 5 ad sets or something, and then suddenly 1 or 2 of them just die. Is like, you said you check out like once a week. So is like the advertising side like more like really stable, like from a sales standpoint?
It is. It can be when you do it correctly. It can feel really unstable for those who are trying to manage the wrong metrics with the wrong expectations of buying. And it may feel really unstable to you. If you're listening to this, you may be one of those people. You're like, well, I can't spend more than 30% A cost to acquire a customer, or my product is not profitable. Well, then you have the wrong product. You have the wrong pricing. You may be in the wrong market share. If you cannot do what it takes to acquire that customer, regardless of A cost, you're going to lose against me and my clients in the market. So I'm just telling you right up front, you've got to be able to position that. So with Amazon, yes, stability is key, but also account stability is key, because they can't take your Amazon ads account offline unless they take your business offline. And since we are registered brand businesses running in the marketplace, we don't have that risk. So we're able to maintain stability of those accounts and simply just moderate them and adjust them based on time of year.
So during the holidays, do you go through like the product pages, maybe and I don't know, by the way, I don't know the terminology for this, but like, what's the page on the brand page on Amazon?
It's called a listing.
Okay.
And there's Amazon stores, which you might be thinking a little bit about, which is an Amazon storefront. Okay. But we don't really drive people to the Amazon storefront. We're driving them to the actual listing in Amazon, where the product and add to cart button is actually.
Okay, so on the listing and the storefront, like during the holidays, do you go add like holiday flair to the designs or anything like that? You don't need to. Wow.
No, once you're dialed into the algorithm, the least amount of changes you make, the better it is. And so as you make those very strategic changes, there's something in Amazon's terminology called a unit session percentage. In the DTC world, is known as the conversion rate. Okay. Once your conversion rate, and here's what's fun about Amazon, is hitting north of 20%. Okay, and it's heading towards 30 or even up to 50%, depending upon your market's segment, niche, and other things you've dialed in. Because we have some listings that'll do between 30 to 50%.
Wow.
The goal is not to change that, even over the holidays, because people are not necessarily buying influence. The psychology of the buyer on Amazon, okay, is not necessarily impacting their decision based on a holiday image versus a regular image at time of year. They are in a holiday buying mindset, but it is not influencing their buying decision, because their buying decision in Amazon was made prior to them showing up.
Okay.
So we think of it as the add to cart world. They've already been there. They've already made their decision. They have now added it to cart. They're getting ready to check out, or they're clicking the buy now button. But it's a different kind of psychology of buyer, and we don't need to manipulate or influence them over the different parts of the year. We just don't change those listings when they're dialed in.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing is like it's just intent based. Like they're literally searching for those items to purchase or gift or whatever, other than the people that occasionally go to like just browse deals or something. That's not me. When I go there, I'm kind of like, if I go to the grocery store, it's like, all right, hon, we're going here, we're going here, we're going here. Actually, I don't even do that anymore. I just Instacart and I have everything done for me.
Well, you're a guy, right? But remember, Amazon's women 27
that's fair.
40 plus who are the majority of buyers. So they're going to do a little browsing in November before they start to do buying. You and I, we're mission based. You know, you can hear the music in the background, like like we're going in, we're going to kill this thing, we're going to get in and get out, and we think of ourselves, you know, like Mission Impossible going in to get this thing done. We're all proud of ourselves by how fast we chose something and bought it. Yeah, we're not that same psychology of the buyer on Amazon, right? You're like 20%. The other 80% are like, hey, I talked to my girl. I saw this thing. I had this conversation. The kids need it. I decided I wanted it. Here's a specific thing I'm after. I'm on Amazon to validate my decision-making process. That's it.
Wow.
And I'm not necessarily at a different tier avatar. We have 3 avatars in Amazon. On tier 2, tier 3 within Amazon, I'm not necessarily making the majority of my buying decision based on reviews or price point. That's a totally different kind of buyer that we're approaching with our products. A lot of the DTC world approaches it at tier one, which is I'm selling, sub $30 products. I'm looking for first cost of acquisition. Then I'm going to sell them a bundled set of that. And then I'm going to sell them the subscription. And then I'm going to sell them more of that product. Then I'm going to email them more of the product. Yeah, I can do something similar to that in Amazon, but I'd rather have a customer who spends $100 with me up front and then spends $1,000 with me over the next year.
So do you find that large of a repeat customer rate? Like, do people come back on him? Because, and I only ask this because, like,
Absolutely.
For me, and this is just me, but I'm just like, I just buy crap and move on. There's like this many, like a really small amount of stores or brands that I go and I rebuy their stuff.
Yeah, you're not the right avatar though.
Okay.
So if you're looking at it from the perspective of a different avatar, they're buying, they're subscribing, saving, they're searching, maybe they're being a little cost conscious or whatever, maybe they're not, maybe they're looking for, okay, this kid needs this shoes or this backpack, or we need this thing for the house, or I want that air fryer before Christmas. They're going in with a purpose driven, more emotional aspect, and therefore the cost isn't always the justification for buying or not buying.
Okay.
And because of that, once they're tied to the relationship of that product, okay, it shows up, it looks better than, they had maybe a little bit of an iPhone experience to it. They're like, whoa, this is better than. I may have paid $199 for this, but wow, I kind of like this product. This thing is actually really cool. It's great. The packaging is nice. It looks like a better than. I'm going to go back and QR code that brand. I'm going to look at them again. I'm going to add more of their stuff to cart. 80 plus million Prime members in Amazon. Okay. Those people spend, by Amazon's own admission, more than $1,000 a year on Prime based products. So my goal is to position my products and brands in front of the Prime members who are willing to spend $1,000 a year on my products instead. So now my back end CLTV on Amazon is very different than the average Amazon side hustle hobby business seller. I'm looking at this for a 6, 7, multi 7, 8 figure approach in the next 24 to 36 months. I'm approaching it from a very business oriented growth aspect, not a side hustle hobby. I'll do my least amount of opportunity or money to make it work. So if you see the difference in approach, you understand the difference in result. Right?
Yeah, so I feel like I am one of the non-avatars, but I'm also an avatar because I spend way more than $1,000 a year, but I don't do it at the same places. Yep. So I just like click and I just buy. And I think like in the last year, we've had like 147 orders through Amazon Smile on our account because our business, we're all day. Like we probably order like $20,000 a year through Amazon stuff for our offices, for gifts.
But if you're spending 50 to 100K on the DTC channel, you're losing 18% of that on the Amazon channel to someone else's customers who you had to pay for first to get into your business, who didn't add to cart, but pulled up their mobile phone, went on Amazon and searched for the same product, and then bought somebody's else almost immediately after they hit.
That's a good counter sale for someone who's like trying to convince themselves that Amazon doesn't work.
Yeah, good luck with that, right? So if I go to your DTC website and I see you don't have an Amazon presence, and I can make the logical assumption or analytical tools that your products are selling well, I can reverse engineer your social media, et cetera, go backwards and see if you got a TikTok, you got an Instagram, are you out median? Can I see what people are interested in buying? I'll take your products over to Amazon and take your market share from the 18% you aren't using. I'll take that to launch my products on Amazon and piggyback off of your traffic and buying that you're not getting in the marketplace. I'll simply take that from you.
Wow. That, now that you say that out loud, I do that all the time. Like I'll click on ads on Facebook and I'll look at the products and then I'm going to be like, all right, Amazon's going to be here tomorrow. So
it's why we call Best Buy the showroom for Amazon electronics. And we call like O'Reilly's or other stores, the shopping for hardware that men go and eventually purchase multiples of on Amazon. The end result is it is a trusted system, okay, with questionable aspects in terms of, well, are these reviews legitimate and stuff? And we all know that now because we're pretty savvy shoppers. But we can also, for the most part, see the value of the reviews and the products and to know there's a reciprocal problem that occurs. If it occurs, it's reciprocal to the return process, which I can handle relatively easy if I don't like this, and I can get it back from Amazon relatively fast, a higher confidence in that ability to buy. Now, again, I'm not saying don't do a multi-channel. Please don't hear me, the wrong way. I've said that you must be opening multiple channels. It's back to that aspect again. If you got a DTC and you're not on Amazon, you may find yourself being a victim of me because I'm going to take your products and I'm going to brand and trademark innovations against them. And when your traffic is coming through Amazon looking for yours, they're going to find mine instead and buy it. I had a case study where we did this with a set of products that we launched a few years ago. There was a product that went to market for kids. It was called Seat Pets. And there were these dolls that you would put in the car, and the kid's head could sleep on it. And they had this little sleeve where you could put their crowns, etc. And they were these cat faces, animal faces, etc. And they looked really cute. And I'm up one night, I forget which of my 95 kids was up late, being fed at 4 a.m. And I'm clicking through infomercials, like trying to get this kid fed and back to bed. Up pops this infomercial, right? 4 seat pets, kids, blah, blah, blah. And, but wait, there's more. And I'm like, hey, this is actually a really interesting product. So I get up the next day, I call my partner, I say, hey man, this has got to be something here. What do you think? Take a look. He comes back the next day and he says, hey, what if we innovate the product a little bit and cross over anime with the product, and we make the faces bigger, we make it look a little bit like an anime character, and we relaunch it? And I said, cool, what are we going to call it? And he goes, Belt Buddies. So we launched a product called Belt Buddies into Amazon and took advantage of the slipstream of infomercial traffic that was coming to Amazon, not finding their products. And instead, we put our products in front of them. We had 2,000 units on a test order. We sold them all out in 8 days. Zero marketing.
Wow.
Okay. So there are things I can do in Amazon called trend jacking or other stuff based on innovation. So I'm not talking about spinners, because these were good products and we built a brand around that product and took advantage of the market share we basically stole from them on Amazon ethically in that place, where I could do that with your DTC channels too. I could come in and create an innovative brand against yours, put it on Amazon, realize you're not there, and then take down all your marketing traffic that you're pushing across social media, et cetera, that is not finding your product on Amazon.
I think we should title this podcast, Neil Twa is going to steal your customers.
I'm going to
steal your products ethically.
Yeah, going to steal your products like a 6-figure barnyard slap.
I pity the D2C.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna slap you like a random mule. So the end of the day, yeah. So for holiday traffic and stuff, look, you can take a slingshot approach to this as a seller in the marketplace to get into position to take advantage of that. Don't stock out. Don't discount your prices just because it's holiday. Realize people are going to buy on emotions, and then leverage that to launch yourself into 2023. Now, if you're not in a position with inventory, products, marketing, or knowledge about how to do that, you need to position yourself for next holiday because it shows up. Amazon has a Prime Day usually in July. And then they have the holidays in the end of the year. And if you're not positioning yourself for this year or can't, for whatever reason, at the time you're listening to this, I would encourage you to look at how to deploy your knowledge and capital in such a way where you can take advantage of it next year. The raising of e-com in the product and marketplace is the only growth number I've seen recently across all industries. E-com is up. E-com is going up. E-com is predicted to go up a lot in the coming years. It is not a place you want to sleep on, and it is definitely not a single channel aspect from Amazon or DTC either way. You need a multi-channel strategy, treat it like a real business, not a side hustle or a hobby, and you're going to see some amazing things happen.
That's awesome. So just to recap kind of what I've kind of heard, Neil. So first, at this point, you should have been prepared from an inventory. So next year, if you miss this, you have to be prepared for an inventory because you get penalized if not. If you start stocking out.
Get it in by October.
Get it in, okay, by October. And then you're not going to you're kind of preparing in November for the Black Friday through the end of the year to really capitalize on the PPC side and really ramp up sales during those moments. And then when you go into the new year, do you have any advice on, do you pull back on ad spend? Do you keep it going? Like, is there anything that you do differently as you kind of like piece out of into the new year?
Absolutely. So we have something that happens. There's a bit of a slingshot or a rubber band elasticity event that occurs in January for those who are not selling nutraceuticals, supplements, weight loss, health-oriented stuff from January to March. If you can somehow cross that over like Belt Buddies to seat pets, you're going to see an opportunity to take a slingshot from fourth quarter into the first quarter by selling additional products from your brand that may align with a customer avatar that's going to purchase, guilt products from January to March.
Nice. That's me.
I ate too much. I need to lose weight. It's a New Year's resolution. That happens. I need more supplements. I got sick over the holidays. I gained 100 pounds at Christmas or whatever. You need to tie that together. Now, what we're going to see from Amazon's perspective is in the first 2 to 3 weeks of January, you're going to see a drop off. You're going to see quite a bit of hit. It's just a normal aspect of the model as people shift back up from post-buying holidays and credit card, statements coming in to how are they going to adjust, from January, February, and March. So just know there's a bit of a downturn on the Amazon side that you will expect to see. Don't freak out. Don't make large changes. Don't touch a lot of things that happen in Amazon. A lot of what we do is one and done. You can't tweak and optimize every component of your listing. If you keep touching it, you keep resetting the algorithm to go back and look at you again. It's like touching a ad set in Facebook that's supposed to be sitting there to hit 50 events, and you can't just stop touching it in the first 7 days. You need to knock it off. Like if you don't have the chops to make that spend, then don't touch the ad set. If you do, then don't start the marketing. And the same way we do this over on Amazon, if you don't have the chops to run in the down in economy, you got to understand averages, and you got to not look at it every day. You can't necessarily even look at it every week. It's one of the ways I love Amazon being an almost automated income, because I don't have to stay at a micromanagement level once everything is built. Once you build the house, you don't keep going back and changing the walls. And so many people think that about e-com marketing, especially on Amazon. Don't do that. If I built a good foundation with strong walls and I did it correctly, then my second story is not leaning 30% to the right if I did a great job. So I don't have a lot of tweaking and stuff to do. I have maintenance. And the algorithm hates it when you touch things. And that's what I love about Amazon. It can be consistent from year to year, week to week, month to month, if you get it dialed in and then leave it there. We got products working for the last 5 years that every day, week, and month of the year have been producing over and over and over again without touching them. And that's what I love about the longevity of this, which can be a snowflake that turns into an avalanche of opportunity that lasts for years. And that's one of the benefits of this model and the growth of this model, no doubt about it.
I don't think there's anyone else that I've ever heard speak, Neil, about Amazon that has made me more want to start an Amazon business.
Well, that wasn't necessarily the intent.
Yeah,
that's
no,
awesome.
seriously.
It has its cons. I mean, I'm not trying to mince words. There are cons. If you're smart, Amazon won't shut your account down. Okay. If you're smart about building the business and you understand the business aspects of it first, and then you go into the market, you're negating some of those cons. They can take down listings for whatever reason because they didn't like something or someone reported something or there's a problem with that. The same way you can lose an ad set or have a community standard guideline problem show up. Like I was trying to create an ad set. I told you that earlier. I was just literally typing in the description and it popped up and said, "Hey, community standard said you're typing too fast. You need to slow down." I'm like, what? Seriously? It would not.
I've never seen that. You must have been typing real fast.
Yeah, it was coming at me inside my ads manager. I'm like, what? So, I mean, there are things that can frustrate cons of any system, and any system has a certain amount of cons. What I want to dispel, I think the myth of today is that I shouldn't approach Amazon as an opportunity channel within my e-commerce brand because there are 10,000 more cons than running it on Facebook with market or email or SMS and doing a DTC channel. That's actually just not the truth. Don't buy into that narrative, all right? You're going to be missing out on opportunities. And if you're not careful, guys like me who are teaching others to do this are going to come in and swallow your lunch. And we're going to beat you up a little bit on the process too. So you have that marketplace advantage. You have that. Just negate the pros with the cons. Of course, one of the big ones, we have to have a little more inventory. We don't do just-in-time shipping from 3PLs to Amazon. We have to have a little bit more capital-intensive aspect with private label that some people don't like. And I get that, and that's okay. But that also creates opportunities. Yes. Let's look at it from the other side of the fence, okay? It creates opportunities as much as it may be a con for you, your finances, your situation, or your current life status. For others, it creates huge opportunities for us to get in the market, inventory, capitalize that private label brand. Just balance the pros with the cons, figure out which horse to ride, put your ass in it, and stick it out for at least 12 months until you get past 7 figures, and then open other channels.
That's good. I love that because I tell people the same thing. I say once you get to 7 figures as a brand, you have to start diversifying. But if you're doing like $5,000 or $3,000 or $2,000 a month, you got to weigh the impact and the resource of, doing everything, and it just burns you out.
If that analogy was, if I heard you correctly, 7 figures at $5,000 a month, you're screwing something up big time.
No, I said you can't be. I said I believe, and I tell everyone this, like you have to it doesn't make sense for you to say, okay, I need to diversify when I'm doing $5,000 a month, and I need to be doing like 16 different marketing channels and TikTok ads and Google ads and Facebook ads and email and SMS and social and Amazon. And you have to be, I believe you should be focused. And then once you've established that, you start to diversify out. And it sounds like you were saying the same thing. Absolutely. Get to 7 figures. If you're going all in on Amazon, get to that point and then say, okay, now let's start breaking out. Did I hear that correctly?
Okay, so I heard something slightly different, and that's why I wanted to make sure I got clear.
I'm not good at
math. What I
math.
heard was you're doing 7 figures, but you're only taking home $5K a month. I'm
Yeah.
like, whoa, what have you completely screwed up?
I love it. Well, so what I would just say is if anyone has not connected with Neil, you really need to. So you and I have been friends for, I mean, not quite a year. It's probably coming up on a year now.
Sure.
But one thing I have to ask is where you get your inspiration for your posts, because I read your posts like every day and they're amazing. They're hilarious, which I think is great. And so I wanted to actually pull an example to show everybody. I was like, so I went to your Facebook page today, and 17 hours ago, you literally posted this photo, and it's just Jesus with a whip, and it says, "I'm here to heal lepers and whip hypocrites," and I'm all out of lepers. And then
Dude,
no way.
That would just literally, I found it funny. I really didn't care if anybody else did, but I got a serious chuckle out of that, man.
What I thought was great though is the caption that went with it. And if you guys are on YouTube right now, you'll be able to see this. If not, I'm going to talk you through this. Here's a caption, and it says, "I'm going to use this on a podcast one day." And I literally just went to your Facebook page to grab a funny, like one of your posts to give an example. And that's what it said. So Neil, it's been featured on a podcast. Didn't even take 17 hours.
That's hilarious, dude. That is so funny, man. I don't know if everybody appreciates what I say, but it's good to hear they do. But at the same time, I'm just doing it because I think it's funny.
And that's just one example. You have so many others.
I just have some fun with it, man. That's all. I'm just having some fun.
That's it.
But also trying to teach some people some things, right? There's always something I'm trying to think to give a different angle. That's all I'm doing. I'm not specifically creative as much as I'm just trying to not get kicked off Facebook. So I'm coming up with ways to keep them from banging me with community standards.
Oh, man. It's good stuff. Yeah, you guys go connect with Neil on his platforms if you haven't. Neil Twa, TWA. You'll find him all over the place. And I guess my final question to you, Neil, as we kind of wrap up here, is if someone's listening and they are more on the D2C side, they're not on Amazon, and they've been listening to this, kind of like hearing the potential, hearing like this is something like I'm listening and inspired by this. What's like what are some resources either you have or that you would recommend just to start like dipping your toes or start understanding what Amazon looks like? Because it's a whole new world for me. And if I'm from that spot, I wouldn't even know where to start.
Well, if you go to voltageb2b.com, that's voltageb2b.com. There's a free training on there with a podcast that I did that talks about how we do the business model. But when you're on that list, I'm going to give a 3-day free training course that occurred not too long ago. There's 3 videos that are put out over 3 days. It's a free training. I give you some templates. I give you how to find a product. I give you the 5 steps to becoming a pro seller. I encourage you to just grab that, get on the list and watch that and learn how we assess products, how we look at what the heck we're going to sell. How do we go by the numbers to ensure like us 7 and 8 figure sellers are going to be profitable when we launch that product? How to ethically steal traffic. I covered that a little bit today. I call it don't marry your product, steal someone else's girlfriend instead. How
I like that.
Literally go into the marketplace and look for those products. So there's girlfriends everywhere, right? And I'm married.
Same. That's hilarious though.
Totally ethical. And then literally it is a river. It's a river flowing current of Amazon customers coming through. And how do I get in front of that river? How do I get my, cookie cutter lemonade stand ahead of someone else and get someone to buy my product in that river and realize there's so much traffic setting inside of there, buying traffic. Okay. Unlike Google or other places, they're not just out there to search for information. They're literally there with an intent to buy. That's a huge win. And it's a big win for a lot of people who are trying to get in front of customers and market ads. And then what I call the platinum principle, overarching, is just to understand that these businesses are worth more in the end than at any time during the business building phase. Okay, revenue, right, is vanity. Let's call it what it is. Yep. Profit is sanity and cash flow is king. If you understand that about these types of business models, especially utilizing the Amazon channel for organic search and long-term avalanche of traffic that can occur, then you understand the value proposition of these entire models and why we build with Amazon first and then move multi-channel. If you're on multi-channel, you need to consider opening Amazon. That free resource on my list will help you understand those 5 components you're going to need to do to attack that correctly. And then I encourage you to go out, check out my YouTube. I even give a shout out to Lunch by Norm podcast because I know he's a serious seller. You might check out some of the things he's doing as well for free trainings. I think he does a lot over there. It's really great. Sean Hart and the guys over at Post Purchase Pro are very, very smart. They have some great free resources for you to check out as well. But like all things, I would just remind you not to be in a scarcity mindset of tire kicking and wondering whether or not your limiting mindset belief would stop you from thinking that this is something that you could do. And I would truly approach it from an abundance and realize there is so much more products and opportunity out there than you can do in a lifetime. So you just got to get out there, start imperfectly, and something perfect will happen along the way.
I love that. Well, Neil, and thanks for coming on. For anyone listening,
My pleasure.
If you want to get somewhere faster, one of the best ways to do that is to learn from people that have been there, done that. And Neil sold more than $100 million through him and his clients on Amazon. So he is definitely someone to listen to. So go check that out. And I just want to say thank you, because you know what? You have been listening to the Ecommerce Alley podcast, produced by the legendary Dylan Counts. Neil and I are grateful that you were listening, that you tuned in, that you hung out with us this entire time. Like Neil said, you can go to voltageb2b.com to get that free training he was talking about. And maybe there's talk. Maybe he'll send me a $5 gift card to Coffee Shop for every one of you that go do that, or a Chipotle burrito. I'm sure we can work something out. So thank you for listening. We appreciate you, and we will see you in the next episode.